I'm standing downtown at Mardi Gras last night. I got down there early, around 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon. By the time my Twitter DMs and the emails started coming in about 6:30 or 7, I had a nice little head change going on, a case of the drunk munchies, if you will. I was aggravated at the time because the chicken on a stick stand was across the street and the barricades were already blocking the street off. So I did what anyone would do if you found yourself in that situation. I walked into the bar to grab another shot and another beer. The reason my phone was blowing up, it was announced last night that Joe Rogan is going to be removed from the UFC broadcast, UFC 271 tonight. Joe Rogan, the voice of UFC, Joe Rogan, who has been calling pay-per-views for Dana White for over 20 years, rarely has Joe Rogan missed calling a UFC pay-per-view. 72 hours ago, Wednesday, UFC announced that Joe Rogan would be in Houston for tonight's event. 2 days later, he is mysteriously removed from the broadcast. Joe Rogan had a scheduling conflict. He was unable to find a plane, a bus, a car, an Uber, or a bicycle to travel the 165 miles from Austin to Houston. This has absolutely nothing to do with him relentlessly apologizing to the offendables all week. Nothing to see here. Naturally, when the news was released, the theories as to why Joe Rogan will be absent tonight started coming out. I mean, just look at the mere optics of this situation. The past 2 or 3 weeks, Joe Rogan has been public enemy number one to the people living in the land of virginity. What network is the face of social justice? More than CNN, more than MSNBC, more than the Young Turks? What network browses Twitter 24/7, looking for one Star Trek nerd to be upset about something and adjust their personnel accordingly? What network does that? ESPN. ESPN is ran by the biggest pussies in America. It's a strange relationship dynamic between ESPN and the UFC. Outside of the NFL, the UFC is the ultimate alpha male sport. It's not like the NBA, where Joel Embiid gets called for a technical foul for farting while LeBron James is at the free throw line. Fighters in the UFC are tough. They're led by the toughest commissioner in sports, Dana White. Dana White takes no shit. He says what he means what he says. He's not afraid to offend you. He doesn't give a fuck what you think. Then you have ESPN, the network that used to call themselves the worldwide leader in sports, who has become the worldwide leader in woke. Who's the face of ESPN? Stephen A. Smith, the ultimate beta male, king of virginity. Have you ever seen Stephen A. with a woman that he didn't call mom? I've seen him hugging and holding hands with plenty of dudes. Never seen this man with a woman. The biggest fear at ESPN is offending an identifier. This network goes out of its way to not piss off the Comic Con nerds on Twitter. UFC pay-per-views, they are exclusive to ESPN Plus. Can't buy them through your cable or satellite provider, which was so much easier in my opinion. You have to be a subscriber to ESPN Plus to access UFC pay-per-views. Clay Travis, he posed an interesting theory last night. He insinuated that ESPN requested or demanded that Joe Rogan be removed. Dana, we can't have this man's voice on our airwaves. The mere sound of his voice could trigger one of our loyal wokers, causing an instant brain aneurysm. It's not a bad theory. Clay Travis, it's not a bad theory. Not outside the realm of possibility. Matter of fact, I don't doubt this is exactly what happened. This is the same network that fired Kurt Schilling because he was too conservative and controversial. Joe Rogan's a hell of a lot more controversial than Kurt Schilling with a much bigger platform. This is the same network that ruined the career of Rachel Nichols because she told the truth about Maria Taylor. ESPN takes zero risk when it comes to potentially offending the identifiers. And you think they're going to allow Joe Rogan on the air right now in the midst of all this media controversy? Another theory floating around is Joe Rogan actually removed himself from the broadcast. Now, to be fair, this is entirely possible too. When public figures are in the midst of a shitstorm, many times they will remove themselves from the public eye. Give the storm a little bit of time to die down. Now, I wouldn't have given this theory a second thought 2 weeks ago when Joe Rogan still had his balls, but after seeing his apology tour the last 10 or so days, I would not be surprised if this were the case. Plus, Joe Rogan might not want the controversy surrounding him to take away from the event itself, to take the spotlight away from the fighters. Joe Rogan does the post-fight interviews in the octagon, and we all know what would happen tonight. He would be interviewing the winning fighter, and the identifiers on Twitter will make it all about Joe Rogan himself. They'll be sitting on their buckets under their bridge, government phone in their hands, just waiting for something to offend them. Some are finding it hard to fathom that Dana White would bow the knee to ESPN and remove Joe Rogan from the pay-per-view. Dana White has been a staunch defender of Joe Rogan in recent weeks. Plus, like I said, the dude does not back down from controversy. He welcomes it. But I don't think this was Dana White's decision. I'll tell you what I think happened. When UFC released the announcement on Wednesday that Joe Rogan would be in his usual spot on the broadcast, the identifiers on Twitter got triggered. We were given proof earlier this week in the Project Veritas investigation that ESPN values Twitter reactions over their own employees. They are quick to overreact when a pimply-faced shitfuck in Sandusky, Ohio, gets in his feelings about the COVID denier Joe Rogan. ESPN, they see the triggered people on Twitter. They reach out to Dana White, possibly even Joe Rogan himself, though I doubt they contacted Joe Rogan. Social justice warriors, they are conflict averse. They are afraid of altercations, whether it be physical or verbal. So ESPN reaches out to Dana White. They express their discomfort with having Joe Rogan on the broadcast. Dana, we can't take this risk. All afternoon, we have been monitoring the reaction on Twitter. People are threatening to withdraw from Woke U if Joe Rogan calls the show this weekend. Dana White approaches Joe Rogan probably like, dude, can you believe these fucking pussies? They are asking that you sit this one out because some non-binary star-nosed mole in Vermont is triggered by your voice. I honestly don't think Joe Rogan removed himself out of fear, or I want to think that. I think he was looking out for the interest of the fighters, not wanting his controversy to take away from their big night. So he told Dana White that he would just sit this one out, take one for the team. That's what I think happened. Now, I might not like it, don't agree with it, but I do understand it a little bit if that's the case. The reason I don't like it is the same reason I don't like the constant apologizing. You can't reason with these people. You cannot show weakness. The last 2 weeks, Joe Rogan has shown nothing but weakness. That's why they keep coming after him. They know he will fold. And it's not just him. Spotify is folding too, putting advisories on episodes, removing episodes. What the hell are you doing? You should take it as a compliment that woke Twitter and the mainstream media are going after you. It means you're doing something right. You don't acquiesce to their demands. You double down on pissing them off. I enjoy it when an SJW finds their way to my channel and unloads their feelings and sensitivity in my comment section. Remember a few months ago when those two virgins made that video about me in their feminine tones, talking about how offended they were? He denigrates the WNBA. He doesn't like women. My non-binary boyfriend cried all night last night because he said the WNBA should be shut down. I thought it was great. I know that's not close to the pressure that Joe Rogan's going through right now, but you can't back down. You don't apologize when you've done nothing wrong. And even if you are wrong, you don't apologize ever to social justice warriors. All right, you guys, give me your theory. Why was Joe Rogan removed from UFC tonight? Let me know what you think. Sound off in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, KC_BTL84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys later.